bridge collapsed. The mountain road washed out. All the signs are obscured by fog. Your only directions are detours. Eventually it dawns on you. Sometimes you need to get lost to discover where you're supposed to be. Welcome to Merlin's Barn.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Merlin's Barn, broadcasting to you live, not live, definitely not live, pre-recorded before a studio audience of ourselves in Fort Blanket, south of the Yukon. And tonight you have myself, and we have Tasia.
Yep.
And we have Beck.
Hi guys, my name's Beck. I am a professional witch, a tarot reader, and the owner of the Serpent's Key Shop and Sanctuary here in Hanover, Pennsylvania, which is a nifty little witchcraft, oddities, antique, etc. store, as I like to say.
It's got a little bit of everything, and if you're in Hanover and you want a really cool place to go and explore, this is a definite. And there's a parking video now too, which I absolutely adore of where to park, because Hanover parking was
evil.
I think it's almost as bad as but not as bad as Boston.
I joke that they invented the town before cars, so they just didn't really think about parking. But yeah, I figure
gonna put your carriage
or your broomstick. You can always park it right at the shop. So
do you have like a roof access?
It's around back.
Okay,
yeah.
there we go. Like Boston,
hatch.
I think Boston was like all cow paths, and you can see that going in Boston. It's like this winding and one way, and it doesn't make any sense. And
there's still like horse hitches, like I think in Hanover. There's like one or two.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, it is Amish country, so like what do I know? But it does make me laugh every so often, or I'm like, I wonder, because it's like right outside Rural Farms. Like it just makes me laugh.
There's a horse hitch outside Rural Farms?
Yeah, it's really
I didn't
it's like
know
across
that.
the street at the big like spooky house that's there.
Oh, that big sort of
There used to be at the very least. I don't know. Don't check my geography, because someone's going to be like, actually, I went on a walking tour and it's not there. But the last time I checked, I did see like a little horse's head.
Yeah.
Like a little
So
ring.
if anybody goes on a walking tour and doesn't find us, just don't yell at us, please. We
I'll cry.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of crying.
Yeah.
We don't have the money for the therapists. So we got to know, actually, Tasia, you met Beck first.
Yeah, it's actually my mom pushed me to go to the
Really?
original location. Yeah.
Awesome.
She
dude.
just kept pushing, and I was like, I don't want to go interrupt your space.
You never
And
are.
then I know. Thank you. But yeah, so she was like, just go check this place out.
I
And
love
then
that.
it instantly was just like, oh,
Aha.
yeah.
Cool,
It was a
dude.
very big like I am here and this is just comfortable.
I appreciate that. I really actually very much appreciate that. That's always like the vibe that we're trying to go for. And it is like really heartwarming to hear how many like parents actually have been like, hello, spooky child. I see this spooky store. I think you might spooky like it.
Exactly.
Well, that's
which
wonderful.
is really like heartwarming, because my parents were definitely like, you shall not. It's like, in The Lion King, where they're like, your kingdom will be everything that the light touches. Yeah, it was
What's
very...
that shadowy thing over there?
Yeah, right. But yeah, that was very much me. I was like, but I like the hyenas. Like, what's that about? So I'm always appreciative of parents who are just kind of like, oh no, here, like, please, embrace. Not that my parents didn't embrace all of that necessarily in their own way, but yeah, definitely always cool. Especially like we had a girl recently who came in, and she must have been like 8 or 9. And the only thing she wanted to do was make a spell jar for her birthday.
Aw.
Oh, that's
Oh,
lovely.
I sobbed in the back. I was like, this is the
Oh, that
cutest
makes me
thing I've
so
ever
happy.
seen. So it's always like really cool to find that. So thank you for being part of that as well.
Thank you. You
Yeah.
made the space. Like you've literally made a community.
I just hang out, No, I do
Sometimes it's
appreciate
part of it, though.
It is, yeah. I think that is a big part of it. Is actually just like showing up and like being there and just being like, hey, actually, it's okay, like to be spooky and to do things.
You can come in, and this is safe. And
Yeah,
you
and that
make
no
it-
one's going to be mad at you or feel like they're
Yeah.
interrupting or whatever, So yeah, definitely.
that's probably why you have the parent support, because that was my friend's shop, Keepers of the Moon Garden in Southern Maryland. which was, 25, 30 years ago at this point. I do remember there were different, because there was a bunch of the high schoolers who hung out there. And there were different parents who just were, they didn't care whether it was the witchcraft shop or anything. They just loved the fact that it was a safe space for something their kids were interested in.
Right, like where teenagers could be teenagers.
Yeah, so if we were doing work on the store, if we were installing new shelving, if there was painting, these parents would just show up and start helping.
Yep, totally. We get that a lot too. Like where folks are just like, "Oh, you need help moving that? I'm right here." I get a lot of volunteered boyfriends, which I think is really funny.
That is fun.
I'm like, "You guys are so cute." Like, thank you. They're like, "He doesn't really like crystals, but he can lift stuff." And I'm like, "Thank
This
you."
is full of something.
It's really, it makes me, but it's like very sweet. Like it's very wholesome and like very like genuine.
Yeah.
And it really warms my heart because I think that is really what community is about. It's like, well, I don't really understand what you're doing, but like I know I can help you in the very basic ways that I can, which is just like being there and sometimes lifting stuff.
Exactly.
Which that reflects on like what we went through with the move here and everything was.
Yeah.
People just came out of the woodwork because the Jeep,
Totally.
my shop had helped them. And then they're just like, "You're moving?" And I'm like, "What? Where did all these people come from?"
Yeah, it's very much feels like an Amish barn raising kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like around here, I'm like, whoa, what is happening? But it's really cool. I like it.
Then do you also get that feeling of just like, why are you all doing this?
Yeah, sometimes. But I'm naturally suspicious. I'm from Virginia, so, we just...
I just feel
I'm
bad. Like, I can't buy you guys enough pizza.
Yeah, right. I'm like, are you sure you, like, want to hang... Okay, like, whatever. Like, that's cool. I'm not going
have
to say
comfy
no.
chairs and let my dog come.
Yes,
So, like,
we do like when dogs come. That's more for me, though. That's more of a, I
Bowie
get to
always
play with
appreciates
dogs.
it. But seriously, there's times I've noticed, like, as we're coming around the corner.
He, like, knows.
Yeah.
Cool, dude. Hell yeah, I love that.
In fact, he let me put on boots on his
The
little
boots,
toes that one
the
day just to
boots.
come visit you.
Yeah, that was so cute. That
was good.
He's a good boy.
He is.
How many times has Bowie been to the store?
A lot.
Yeah, Bowie's...
like 5 or 6
Yeah.
at a minimum. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a regular.
Definitely.
So all this starts with something. So we're gonna we're gonna like jump back a hair. And before anybody, like, I don't want anybody to sit here and get wiggy and go, "Oh my God, they're talking about a witchcraft shop or something." So I'm going to make something clear from the get-go. I was a Wiccan priest years ago. No, that's not why my name is Merlin. That's
Oddly.
Oddly, completely unrelated, and also not D&D related. But if you have an old Marine sergeant who's your spare dad and he decides your name is Merlin, your name's Merlin. But so I was a Wiccan priest. I'm now on the vestry of an Anglican church. Everything's, in my opinion, just different ways of looking at something. So I want people to sort of, and you have you have like, isn't there a Bible study? Like,
Oh yeah, we do a monthly Bible study with like a local church where a reverend comes in and teaches us about the Bible. Like it's actually really cool. We did Leviticus last month, so we
that's
talked
cool.
about all of the different rules, but he touched a lot on obviously like the LGBTQ ones, where he's like very like pro and like open
Yeah.
to like gay folks and trans folks
Yeah.
in his church. So every time we had done this maybe 3 or 4 times in the past, and every time we posted about it, it was like, we got dogpiled in the comments. We were told we were corrupting the word of God because I think everyone thought I was teaching it. Like I think there was some miscommunication, or maybe just people didn't read the flyer and stuff, or didn't see the picture of
People
Ken.
don't read.
Yeah, which is fine. No, it's okay.
No.
Maybe they think that I am Ken, and which would be hilarious because Ken is a grown man in his like late 50s to early 60s, I believe. And if he's older than that or younger than that, I'm sorry, Ken.
Didn't he give you the civilian defense water can?
Yeah,
Yes!
he did. Yeah, he's
Yes,
really
okay.
cool. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes.
This can may or may not exist.
Yes, right. No, so he's okay. So I don't think it's a problem, honestly. But he, yeah. He's been a very close friend of mine. I actually saw him earlier today. He stops in all the time. And we, like, part of my mission at the store is, like, fostering, like, interfaith, like, relations, because I think it's really important to, like, actually love your neighbor. I don't know. It's, like, kind of weird. I know.
Apparently.
That whole Jesus guy.
He was, like, kind of maybe onto something a little bit, but,
Yeah.
like, you know.
Be nice to people.
Right. Like, feed the needy and all
Wild.
that. I know.
It's so strange.
So, but like on the other side of things, like on my side of things, I see a lot of folks who have left the church who are still filled with a lot of, like, feelings about it or, like, misplaced anger and are like, you know, oh, fuck all the Christians, which I don't really believe in either. I think that's a really terrible thing to say and not productive to the conversation.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like a common ground where we can come together and say, like, well, here's, like, where I'm coming from, and these are the stories that I was taught when I was a child, or not, or whatever.
Yeah.
And here's how I understand them. What do you, as a priest, being somebody who's gone through seminary, how do you interpret this, or how can this be interpreted? And he gives us a lot of historical context as well.
Yes.
Like, behind everything, which is, like, my favorite part of it. Like, so we talk about, like, oh, hey, like, this is when this was actually written, and, like, this is the political stuff that was going on, and, like, the war, and, like, the kings, and, like, the, you know, the in minutia, like, of the social
That's
stuff.
what I want out of something like that.
Yeah,
so
it's really
badly.
cool. And there's never any, like, he never is like, and you can come to my church to learn more. It's just a legitimate, like offering that we have, because I think we both have come together and been like, no, this is, like, actually important.
That's awesome.
Apparently he talks about me in church, though, which is, like, really cute and, like, funny.
That's really
and, like, I've had a
sweet.
couple folks who are like, yeah, Ken talked to you about you on Sunday, and I'm like, I hope it was good things. Like,
I'm gonna imagine so.
no, I think so. I mean, it was, he's such a sweetheart, but yeah, I definitely have come to the Serpent's Key as a crossroads for a lot of different things, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it started off, though, like we were talking about dogs earlier, actually kind of with a dog. And I got into Wicca. I'm not a Wiccan anymore. I don't really practice a specific religious path with
Is that something that we want to, I guess, make
like,
the
define?
difference? Yeah.
Sure. So, if you guys want.
No, it's fine. It's if I could, like, my perspective was like, my first wife and I were Wiccan until we realized that the Wiccans didn't know what the Wiccans were.
Yeah.
And
So
that was our issue.
I found a lot of solace and foundation building in Wicca. I actually don't think that it is, like, a bad thing to
Right.
explore. It gave me a lot of, like,
It is a beautiful jumping point.
yeah, I think it's a really good intro. But it's really structured, which is kind of what I struggled with, or at least the way that I was interpreting it. It was rather structured in a way that was comfortable when leaving the church, but then became uncomfortable when I felt, like, fully in the world of witchcraft.
Okay.
So,
Right.
ooh, where was I going with that? Oh, Wicca. Yeah, that's right. So the way I found out about Wicca, it was the early 2000s. I don't know, I'm trying to think of, like, culturally significant things that were happening. It was the early 2000s.
There was that tower thing.
No,
I was born 2 days before
terrible,
that.
terrible, terrible. Well, there was, but that's...
After that, I don't know what stands. I'm trying to think.
That
I'm
was-
like, I'm old. I should
I was like,
remember something. But
Justin Timberlake was
Oh,
on the
God.
radio.
help!
Yeah, like, it was very much that. And I was at my grandparents' house at the ripe age of 12 years old. And I maybe was a little bit younger, maybe like 10 or 11. And I watched Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Curse for the first time, which is 2001 hit classic by
yes.
Cartoon Network. So in that movie, one of the main characters who has kind of gone on to become, like, a pop culture icon amongst, like, the alt community,
Yes.
I think. One of the Hex girls was named Thorn, and she goes, "I'm not a witch, I'm a Wiccan." And I was like, what is that? That sounds awesome.
'Cause it's so defining.
Right. So she talked about, like, how she wasn't evil, and that she was, like, in touch with nature and worked with the elements. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. And because it was the early 2000s, I had unrestricted access to the internet. So
Yep.
hopped over to google.com and pulled up the page for Wicca, and sure enough, I got into, like, Spiral Dance by Starhawk. Like, I read, some, like, really old school stuff.
Nice.
Like, I read a lot of, like, Laurie Cabot. I read I don't think I read the original Gerald Gardner's, whatever.
Right.
Did you run into? Did you have the big? What was it?
Uncle Bucky's big blue book, Raymond Buckthorn.
Yes,
Or Buckland, excuse me, Raymond Buckland. Yes, I didn't have a copy of that because I wasn't allowed to actually have the books.
Okay.
But after that, over the summers, like I would go to the library, and they had all the Silver Ravenwolf books, and all the Ellen Dugan, like the Teen Witch, like so I slowly kind of like. I would like go to my parents thought I was very studious, and I just wasn't doing math or like science. I was studying witchcraft. So I would like go hide in like the history section and the religion section and just sit and read the books like at the library and take my notes home with me and study them like at night, like Harry Potter, I guess, like under like because like I couldn't have the actual books in my house. My parents were just very like anti like witchcraft, period. So obviously, naturally, as a teenager, when someone tells you not to do something, I'm like, but why? So after that, like, they eventually kind of found out because I was not sneaky. Why
are there candles everywhere?
Yeah, oh my God. One time we went to the Renaissance Festival, and my parents bought me incense. I love the cricket. That was really funny. Or whatever was chirping.
No, I think it was a cricket.
They were like, go off. My parents bought me incense with their own legal tender. And I lit a stick of it in my room when I got home, because like that's what you do with incense. I had the window open. It was fine. I was allowed to have candles. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. My dad comes running up the stairs. Are you smoking weed in there? No. I was doing witchcraft, though, so I had to lie. I had to pick a lie. I was like, oh, no, what do I tell him? And my mom, I was like, I'm just testing out the incense. And my mom goes, yeah, she's not smoking weed. Weed's a social drug, and Beck, like, doesn't have friends. And I was like, that's the mom burn of it all. Like, she realized it was, like, rough. Like, when she was like, no, that's not what I meant. But it was definitely, like, a very Aquarius, like, on the nose, like, mom burn. I was like, cool, thanks. Thank you for that one, but hey, did not get in trouble for something I wasn't doing, which was, drugs, and then the other one, which I was doing, which was witchcraft. So, yeah, it was, I was cleansing my space, and my parents were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's working.
Nobody's in here.
Yeah, right, exactly. So yeah, they kind of like found out after that, and I was like strictly forbidden from practicing, which of course like just made me want to do it harder. And again, unrestricted access to the internet, and I had Tumblr at that point, so it was kind of like game over. Like I think I had Witchblr. I was definitely a big part of that for a little bit.
What was that?
Oh, witch Tumblr.
Tumblr? I never heard about this.
Yeah. Like the word witch and then BLR at the end.
Like
is
Tumblr.
Like Tumblr, but for witches.
Yeah, that's totally new one on me.
It's like witch talk is like witchcraft TikTok.
There's
a witch talk?
Oh, unfortunately for everybody. They tried to hex the moon.
What?
Yeah, that was like 2021 drama. Excellent.
Lord.
Yes, I don't think it worked out very well, but perhaps we are living proof that it did. No, I'm just kidding.
Dry had a whole
We're
moment
the
with the
upside down.
moon.
Yeah,
the
for
other
real,
night.
right? So yeah, I started practicing in my like teenage years. I started reading tarot around like 13 or 14, like for myself. I conned my grandmother into buying me my first tarot deck, which is on brand for me. We went to like the Met, like the up in New York, and they were doing an exhibit on illuminated manuscripts, like from the Bible.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was really cool actually.
Ooh.
It was awesome. Like I legitimately really enjoyed it, even as a teenager. Yeah, it was awesome. But they had an illuminated tarot deck. Yeah, dog, it was super cool. And then they had reproductions of it in the gift shop. And when Nanny tells you you can get anything you want in the gift shop, she will buy you anything at all. She really wanted me to get like a watercolor sketching set or something, or like, a Monet like handbag or like scarf. But I was like, I want the medieval tarot deck now. So that's actually like the one that I learned on, was like this old thing from the 1400s.
That's so neat.
Have you seen the St. Petersburg Tarot?
I don't think I have.
We'll have to dig that out.
Yeah.
It's a tarot done entirely in Russian icon style.
Oh, very cool.
It's gorgeous.
This one is really funny. They're all kind of flat Like, it's, like, very, like, and, like, the death skeleton is, like, kind of goofy. I'm like, this is kind of silly.
Do they have
like,
the snails and the weird cats?
No, I wish. It's a little bit, it's Renaissance, so it's a little bit later than when they were having the marginalia and stuff, which is
so
one
we're
of my favorites.
just getting into proportions.
Yes, yes,
love
they
the
are just
snails.
figuring out, like, how to make things look shaded, but they're still kind of, like the faces, like, are still, like, 2D. It's really funny.
Yep.
The medieval Scapini deck, if anyone's interested, if anyone's a tarot collector, is the one that I use.
We have to look that up.
It's pretty silly. We sell it at the shop. I love it.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
We don't have a copy
That's
here,
a full
do we?
circle moment.
Yeah, it was.
That's
Like,
literally
as soon
full
as
circle.
as soon as I ordered it and, like, I pulled it out of the box, I was like, da-da-da. So, yeah, there's definitely been a lot of that at the shop. I, like, started practicing when I was, like, I initiated myself into Wicca at 13 years old because I was just, like, reading books, and I was a weird kid. Like, I have to say, like, I don't think most 13-year-olds were interested in that kind of stuff, so it makes me feel a little bit like, I'm like, yes, at 13, I was doing this. I was just, like, really weird. Like, all the other kids were, like, playing sports or, like, had hobbies. I just really was interested in witchcraft.
I think so many of the
hobby
people
at
who...
that point.
Yeah, you know, like, it was like a study. Like, some kids, like,
crossover.
would read books, like, you know, like, and I read, like, obviously, like, I read books, but, like, I would read books specifically about, like, ancient Sumeria. I don't know why.
That's
I
awesome.
just think it's neat.
I got books about the bubonic plague.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'm
um,
just overthinking it because I grew up in a really normal area of the country, and I was just kind of like, but I want to be a funeral director, mommy. Like,
Same.
yeah, right. Like, I was definitely, like, kind of an oddball, but it's something that has just been, like, really helpful to me. And I opened my store like around my 26th birthday, so it was 13 years after, like, my initiation. So it was
Yeah.
definitely, like, a really cool little...
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's very, like, poignant, I think.
So
really
that leads right into the store, which leads back to our Buffy the Vampire Slayer
Yeah.
discussion earlier, and your Giles dream.
Yes.
Should
Oh
we-
my gosh.
Should we give people some... Do you want to give people
Absolutely, okay.
some background as to Buffy the Vampire
Yes.
Slayer?
So how did I even start my store? So it came to me in a dream, which is, I think, the only way that you should decide to open a witchcraft store is if you have a prophetic dream about it. And that's a joke for people at home. I don't actually know that this was an actual prophetic dream. But
But
I
it
like
had
to think that it
Giles.
was. It did have Giles, so I think that Giles
Like-
was speaking to me spiritually. No, I'm just kidding. So I was up in Salem, Massachusetts, which is very poignant to this story. Yeah, it definitely has a lot. And you had asked me as well, like, about working with Hecate and, like, how this all, and it all kind of ties in this story as well. So previous to this, I'd been kind of working with her on and off, like, maybe for about a year to 6 months. So I was still, like, really new in my journey with this goddess. And I was, like, feeling a little cocky. I was like, I know her offerings. I know her holidays. Like, I got it. LOL. And then I went up to Salem, Massachusetts, like, on a road trip. I was showing, I went to fashion design school, so I was showing a small collection up in Maine at, like, a show for my friend. It was fun. It was actually really, really fun.
That's cool.
I love I'm getting all the stories now.
The behind the scenes, yes.
Part of why we do this.
That's
Yeah.
all the things, like, I've wanted to ask, but, like, I'm like, you're in your store. I don't want to bother.
No, you're never bothering
I
me, dog.
know.
But yeah, I was working in fashion at the time. I hated my job. I was like, I want to get out of here. Like, I worked in luxury menswear,
Oh my
which
God.
was soul sucking and, like, well, okay, I
It's
mean,
a lot of straight lines.
per my NDA, it was great. But no, I'm just kidding. I don't have an NDA. But it wasn't for me. It just was not for me. And COVID kind of sealed the deal with that for me. I was still making suits in the middle of a pandemic, and I was like, and we were shipping them to, like, people's yachts, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, it was
that
terrible.
feels-
It was really gross. And it was
Bad.
all people who were, like, very obviously associated with, like, the oil companies at the time. And I was like, I'm gonna throw up, but I decided that I wanted to quit, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I just know I can't work here anymore because I'm gonna die if I do this. So I, for the first time since I worked there, decided to take a few days off, go up and show my collection, and like just have like a freaking vacation for once.
Hell yeah.
You know. So I drove up there in the little red car that I drove in today. Drove all the way up to, we stopped in Salem on our way to Maine. And I remember going to all the stores, like in the Maine area, and just being like, okay, this is cool. Like, but I was expecting more. And I hate to say that because I don't want to like talk down about anybody's storefront. But I was kind of just like, I wanted like a deeper experience. I wanted something that was a little bit more like authentic or like handcrafted. Like I felt like Salem should like have that. So
no, when I was like little 13-year-old going up to Salem, being mind blown.
No, totally. And it is super cool. Don't get me wrong.
But like, once again, with the adult perspective that we have now, like it's like, yeah, I can see why this is a bit more on the kitschy side at times.
Totally. And, like, I think that there is an element of, like, touristy stuff. Totally get
100%.
Like, 100%. But, like, as a practitioner, I was like, I feel like, well, as a practitioner and a Virgo, I have to say, that has a lot to do with it. I was like, I can do this, like better.
Our main issue.
Like, I can do this. Yeah, right. Like I can...
the Virgo thing.
I could see that.
Yeah, like, I can take this and elevate it in a way that, you know, I think has not been... that I have not seen.
Was Larry Cabot's shop still?
I think so. Yeah, I definitely liked a few of them. There was a purple one. I know that.
Cool.
Oh,
that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
That was really cool. So I went to like definitely a few, and there were like Nocturne wasn't open and House Witch wasn't open like when I was there. Or like I didn't get to see them because I was only there for a short period of time. So nonetheless, I was kind of like, this was cool. This is cool. I got my tarot deck that I used today up in Salem.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely had a great visit. But I was more so just, like, inspired. And I remember, like, I couldn't stop talking. Like, I was sitting there with, like, my partner at the time. And I was, like, I literally wrote a list of everything that I wanted to do, like, at the shop. And I was like, I think that I can just do this. Like, I think I have to figure out a way to make this work.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, wrote all that down, fell asleep, and I had this, like, crazy dream and I was reading about Hecate at the time, and I remember just being like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I just feel like I have to do this, like, now. So I fell asleep. I had this dream where I woke up in my dream, and there's a scene in Buffy the Vampire Slayer in some of the later seasons.
Yeah, to give people some context, this is a fun show from the 90s that you just have to look it up to get some more context to it. If you're enjoying the conversation, you'll probably enjoy the show. And there was a movie. I think Donald Sutherland was in the movie.
Yeah, it was something really weird.
And then then the show came out, and the show's it's its own fun thing.
Totally. And one of the elements is that they always had the gang of characters, and their librarian, Giles, had like a hangout spot. So it used to be the library at the high school, and then when they graduated, they had to have this new place. And their, I guess, solution for this in the show was an occult store called the Magic Box. And they have this really big library and these tables where people could go and study and sit, and they could research the latest creature of the week that is coming out of whatever hellmouth that they have found themselves around. And Giles, on the first day that they open the shop, he's standing there in like this magician's outfit, if you can imagine, from like Fantasia with like Mickey Mouse, right? And all the stars and the moons and like the big blue robes and all of that. Florida.
I remember that.
Like, yeah, the big sleeves and all of that good stuff. And he's wearing that like in the show, and he's standing there and he's like ta-da! And no one had shown up until the main characters. And I remember being like, oh my God, I in the dream, I was wearing the magician outfit. So I was wearing the little hat and stuff, and I was standing there, and I was like, no one's going to show up. Like, but in my dream, I had owned and created this witchcraft store. And throughout all of this, as dream logic happens, I remember kind of hearing like, and like saying / thinking, I don't really know, dream logic is weird, but like having the understanding that if I was going to do this, I had to do it for Hecate. And that she somehow was going to help me with this, because this was like I asked for my path, and she was kind of like, here, this is what you must do. So one of her sacred symbols is the serpent, is snakes. She's known as a deity that comes between our world and the underworld with ease. So snakes being creatures that live above the land and also live underground were kind of seen as sacred to her.
Yeah.
And then keys. So she's the key keeper, kind of the guardian between worlds and realms and phases.
Crossroads.
Yes, crossroads, the liminal, the in-between places. So the serpent's key kind of came together.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, so that's kind of where the name came from. And also, it's actually funny.
Everything makes sense all of a sudden.
I've had this since I was like 12 years old, and I didn't know why. But I bought it. It's a normal key. I got it at Michael's, actually, like in the beading section. Like I got it and I put it on a
snazzy stuff.
100%, absolutely. But when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to have a pentacle. So to me, I wanted something that represented to me that I was a witch, and that's what I decided. So if you like look at old pictures of me in high school, used to be silver, but I would have it like around my neck, like you can see it like in different pictures on different chains that would break and all of that.
Oh, that's too cool.
So weirdly, I feel like Hecate's been there with me in my whole entire journey, without me knowing. Like this was one of them. One of the childhood houses that one of the houses that my grandparents owned when I was growing up was called Asteria, which is the name of her mother. And when I opened up, my grandmother had like this whole thing about the legend of Asteria, and in it she talks about Hecate. And this is something that's been in that house since like the year 2000. Like it's like random stuff that like is like weird synchronicities that I keep putting back and forth. That's where I'm like, okay, that's a little spooky. I don't really know if I like all that, but it really kind of it really
just clicks.
Yeah, so to me, I feel like this is just kind of something that's been like there are greater machinations at work, and I'm just here to I just go to work, dog. I don't know. I just work here.
We experience in Barnland is the amount of weird synchronicities that have happened here, where like Tasha and I'll be after a day of people coming in and meeting each other, and then worlds just suddenly interlocking and just sitting there going, that was really weird, but that's the synchronicity that just happens here.
Yeah, sometimes it's just supposed to.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, I'm going to accept that and have a drink before I go to bed. So
So, and that's kind of like what I did with the store. I was working at a tattoo shop at the time, so I asked if I could rent out a room from them, and they were like, yeah, sure. So it started off as like half a room, and then 3 months later we expanded, and then 3 months later we moved downstairs, and then 3 months later that expanded. So it's just kind of been this growing amalgamation of things ever since I was like, okay.
That's a silly question.
Yeah.
All right. If you can remember at all from your dream what the store you had in the dream looked like.
Oh, it was just like the magic box, like in Buffy.
Okay.
It was, I know, I wish it was like this magical, like, and the space manifested. But
because I wanted to ask,
I
like, how
that.
much the space that you have now might reflect that.
Well, definitely like the wood elements and the cozy elements. Like that was something that really stuck with me, like from like the magic box as like an aesthetic, but like also like what I would want out of like a store. There have been a lot of times that I personally have gone to like other stores like in the area or even when I'm traveling, and sometimes it feels like it's like a members only club where you have to like prove yourself in order to, which like I get it. Like I understand that there are people who can be judgmental, and sometimes it's like hard to like suss that out, but like I've had multiple instances recently where they figure out, oh, you're the owner of the Serpent's Key, and then talk to me like a normal person, and I'm like, okay, we could have just had a conversation.
Exactly.
Like, and I don't know, like, I'm not trying to make a comment on anybody's like business or anything by any means, but to me, like, it makes me like sad, like that it's become almost like this sense of like you have to know what you're doing in order to belong. It is a secret society. I think that's totally valid and like acceptable in magical spaces, and there's a long history of that.
Yeah.
But it's not always the most accessible, and I am hoping to challenge some of that, you know, because there's a time and a place, and there are secret societies that you can definitely learn about and like join. But you have to have an entry point first. Like there has to be somebody who's like, oh no, okay, here's what Earth magic magic is, actually. And
if
like,
you're
here's what the elements are, and here's like history on what you're trying to learn, you know?
If you're a stone wall, then you're just going to drive those people
Right,
away.
exactly. And what I would want somebody to tell me, like, hey, did you know that this isn't like what you think it is? Or like,
Right.
you know, here's something you might be more interested in, you know?
It's like the number of times I have walked into shops or spaces and like the automatic, like, you just know when you get hit with that, like, I don't know if I belong here.
Yeah, right. It's
I
kind of
am
like the
tiptoeing.
immediate imposter syndrome, even though I'm
Yes.
like,
It's a
this is
public
literally my
space.
job. I'm allowed to be. Yeah, right. It's a
Yeah.
public space, like, period. Yeah, right.
Like,
so,
you set up a shop to make money, and I'm here to patronize.
yeah, right. I have legal tender in my pocket.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
and you got a cool rock there, but now I'm second thinking it because
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
right, and I totally understand people's. It's an unknown thing. So again, I don't ever want to like be like, yes, everyone must be accepting of everybody all the time, because that's not realistic either. But we do our best, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm hoping to see more of an open attitude, or more freedom for people to feel safe being open about stuff, because I think there's a big part of that too. So it's understandable, but I'm also trying to challenge that a lot, especially in like the Hanover, like rural Pennsylvania area.
Which honestly, I'd never really even thought of Hanover as like rural PA until you started dealing with your idiocy.
Yeah.
At which point I'm sitting there going, I guess it is rural. Yeah. It's,
Yeah,
Good
so
old boys town.
it is definitely
Yeah.
like so I grew up in Northern Virginia, to like give people context, which is like bureaucracy city. Like it is like right outside DC, like everyone's in a rush. Like there's definitely, it's a very fast paced to grow up in. So when
Yeah.
I moved out here, I was like, oh my God, everyone's like actually nice. Like weird. Like, oh man, there's Amish people. This is kind of strange. Like, why is there so much traffic? Like, but yes, shortly after opening the store, I was really reminded of the climate in which I was opening the shop, when we had a visit from the Hanover police chief and another one of his officers, whose name I still do not know, and to this day I regret not learning. And they were there to arrest me for witchcraft.
Quite literally.
Well, for tarot reading, for fortune telling. But they also, there's a law dating back to 1861, which, for all the history buffs out there, yes, is the year the Civil War started. Indeed, indeed.
Conspiracy. No? Probably not.
Probably not. I love it. It's so silly. It was definitely something that was like based in xenophobia, in a lot of like the snake oil salesman type stuff, which I understand. However, there's a law in the books in Pennsylvania that outlaws fortune telling, astrology, necromancy, love spells.
Damn it.
I know, terrible, really bad for business. But any sort of conjuration or divination.
It's interesting because Houdini was really into disproving this stuff, but he was so much later.
Mm-hmm.
And because I know, listening to a couple podcasts, I forget which, it might have been podcast Cautionary Tales that went into Houdini's crusade. And then there were a lot of laws that resulted from like all of the
The spiritualists and all
yeah,
that.
that's it. I was going to call them Scientologists, which I was like,
No.
that's wrong.
No.
That's a different thing.
Different
the spiritualists.
organization. Yes.
And then when you were doing that, and I saw 1861, I was like, oh, okay, so this is
they
a whole
repealed
preceding
it, I
thing.
think, for a very short period of time due to the popularity of spiritualist type practices, I think. But they reinstated it in like the 50s.
Why?
Oh, well, it's the 50s.
Yeah, so I really, there's a weird history with that law specifically. It's only been used, like, a handful of times, none of them, like, really successfully. The only successful time, as of recently, was, I think, in, like, 2008, and it was a woman who was, like, scamming people out of thousands of dollars. Like, they were kind of saying, like, give me $10,000 and I will lift the curse from your land.
Like,
That
there's
was-
a huge difference between what you're doing and
so
that.
they used that law to kind of tack on extra time. So her main charge was like fraud, but this law was to help like add penalty because it was like indicative of like the flavor of the scam, if that makes sense. So it definitely is like not something that has ever been like individually enforced, like ever, like in the history of Pennsylvania.
We have Gettysburg, not
Yeah.
even like 5 miles away.
And it's something that is definitely selectively done. So it is not, it's like up to the jurisdiction to enforce. Much like how you're actually not allowed to like sing in a bathtub in Pennsylvania.
Oh, gosh darn it.
Or buy a car on Sundays in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
So when did we get the Nissan?
Right. So
I'm just worried about the singing in the bathtub thing. I think they're going to be coming after me.
yeah, there's like a lot of really old weird laws that people kind of like don't pay attention to. So when I was starting my business, I actually had a tarot reading done in Gettysburg, and I remember talking to the lady, and I knew in that moment that I was screwed. So it was before I'd even opened the store, hadn't even thought about it. Don't even think I'd had the dream at that point. But I asked her, I was like, hey, did you know that there's like a weird law about like tarot reading in Pennsylvania? Like, how do you guys get around that? Like, is it just like one of those weird ones that they ignore? And this woman looked me in my eyes and she goes, oh, honey, I've been doing this longer than you've been alive, and I've never had a problem with that. I'm sure you'll be just fine.
Oh, no.
Oh, honey.
Jinxed me. She jinxed me. She jinxed me.
Oh, no.
No, I'm just kidding. But she did give me good advice as to like keeping like a sign up saying it's for entertainment purposes only, and that like I am not a doctor, a lawyer, a
covering
candlestick
your ass,
maker.
basically.
Well, sometimes, but you know.
In the basement.
Yeah, I did, you know.
It smells so nice in there.
I basically I had that piece of paper up when the police came, and that was essentially the only thing that kept me out of jail that day, which was so
That's
crazy
insane.
because I hadn't even been open. It was before we had our grand opening.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the reason that they found out about it is because an article was put out about the shop that mentioned that in the last line of the article, mentioned that I offered tarot reading services.
It just blew my mind that they fixated on that. I'm just sitting there going, you're the chief of what's really a sort of small city-ish thing around here. There's got to be better things to do.
Right.
You'd
Well,
think.
apparently he didn't make an official report either, so it was like company time essentially.
Wow.
And
Okay.
he came,
So petty.
like in uniform, and then on Facebook they denied that actually happened. So, which was funny because every single like mom in the tri-state area was like, no, that's my baby. Like, you stay away from her. You stay away from that nice girl in her shop. Dude, yeah, it's been like the sweetest, like the most like weirdly, the people who you would not expect to be so supportive. It's
Yeah.
not so much like, I don't know what kind of weird stuff you do in that shop, but I support your right to do it. And I'm like, that's the most American thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Wasn't there a minister who came around like shortly after all this?
Yeah,
And-
Ken.
so is that how you met Ken?
Yeah, absolutely. So he, we run a Bible study, at the shop, and that is, the minister came in and just like apologized and was like, this is like not how Christian people should be acting. Like, we should be like loving our neighbors and like, extending like friendship and like community
Right.
to everybody regardless of belief, which I think is like, well, that's also what I believe in, and that's kind of what we teach at the shop. So I was
Human.
like, okay. And what really sold me, it was brilliant. And Ken is like a one-of-a-kind guy. He brought me a bouquet of yellow roses, which in the Victorian language of flowers is friendship. Yeah.
Aw.
So, and he was like, yeah, I don't know if you like plants. And I'm like, look around. But yeah, he brought me yellow roses. So I still have them. They're at the shop. They're dried and on the altar.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what those were from.
That's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, so he's like definitely a dear friend of mine, and I think that kind of like energy and that kind of outshines like that moment was like a single moment in my life where a man who was shorter than me came in and tried to tell me that I was grounded. Like because he didn't arrest me, and now he can't for all intents and purposes.
Did it make it up to the state level recently?
Yes. So currently, we filed a lawsuit back in like August of like a year ago, basically, and they've been pushing and pushing and pushing against it and like delaying it because they don't want this to go to court, because they know that I'm probably allegedly right. I don't know if you could pick that up, and it's fine. I didn't say anything.
I think it might have gotten it.
Cool. So there's a lawsuit currently going on right now. I sued the Hanover Borough and the chief of police, but because it is challenging a law that is on like the Pennsylvania Constitution, it got like escalated
Okay.
So now it's basically like Beck versus the state of Pennsylvania. Which is like totally
so
fine.
powerful,
Let's go
really,
to war.
It's totally fine. It's really cool. My poor mother is like,
Oh, no.
Of course my kid is doing this. Awesome. Love you. Support you.
She's sitting there going, we regret taking you to the library.
Yeah, she was like, I'm so sorry you're so studious. Ignorance is bliss. No, I'm just kidding.
Gotta watch out for those liborations,
They're-
guys.
yeah.
Truly.
really-
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really are.
Oh, wait a sec. Okay.
Both
So
of us.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
cheers.
know. You guys are really
I'm included on that.
you're stirring up the youth.
Don't read things.
No,
I
no.
forgot half of my profession for a second. That's really sad.
Okay. I shuffle for a living essentially, so you know.
Beans. Yeah.
So there's a lawsuit currently going on. There's also like a House representative who introduced a bill to the House of Representatives, and I got to like go and like not address the
Yeah.
House of Representatives, but I like I was like in the crowd and I like waved because I didn't know what to do. Because he like so the representative was kind of saying like, you know, hi, like here's what the bill is, and the bill is to repeal the fortune telling law,
Right.
which is to get it like completely off the books because it's unconstitutional. It
But-
violates the First Amendment.
And
so.
the other thing is, having it on the books allows for situations like you
Correct.
had where somebody can go, I'm going to randomly enforce.
Right, on the one of 5 metaphysical stores in Hanover at the time.
Yeah.
Literally,
So-
like,
Yeah, it was like
Why
really weird and
singling out?
random. I think it was because I was very like vocal on social media and just like more visible and like present and like I don't know, I have tattoos and I say the F word. Like I get it. Like it's not it
Oh,
can
gosh.
be abrasive. It can be
Wow.
abrasive to
Beck, how
folks.
could you?
I know. And but I also like understand the optics of that. Like I have to be kind of
Yeah.
aware that like I'm coming into a very like close-knit kind of conservative community and being like, "Hey, did you know it's okay to be gay and worship the devil?" Like, you know, like it's very like to them. Which I mean, sometimes I do say that actually, but I never like ever mean to come across like you must follow my path in order to be correct. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't really believe that. Like I don't even know where my own path is going. So if you want to be lost, you can follow me. But I think that it's important that everyone find their own space. And sometimes that can also be kind of intimidating to people. So you know.
Just the freedom to do and think as you will.
Right. Yeah, and the
is-
fact that it's okay to have like multiple people thinking different things about the same thing, like
No,
you
no.
know, having different beliefs about the afterlife or whatever that is. I think that kind of like freaks people out where they're like, "What do you mean you're wrong? Like you don't?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't think I'm wrong necessarily. I just believe in multiple paths and that multiple things can be true at once, you know?" So I think that, like, by kind of putting this out there on the internet, because I was doing a lot of promo and stuff, I was trying to open a store.
Well, this is how you do it nowadays. I mean,
Right.
It's, is social media.
Totally.
Is free advertising. When
Right.
you do it right, you get a lot of people following. it.
Right, which, like, I'm very grateful for. Like, this definitely, like, has done a lot to put optics on the store, which
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
is, like, crazy and still, like, blows my mind. Like, when people are like, "Oh, yeah, I follow you from Facebook." And I'm like, I forgot that people can see that. Like, so basically, like, I got to go to the House of Representatives, and there's a bill that is currently, like, in the House to be voted on before it advances to the Senate. And then if
Right.
the Senate advances it, it goes to the governor to be signed. So we kind of have, like, 2 prongs of government going at it.
Big fingers crossed.
Yeah, big time, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's a long process. They probably said, like, I won't be done until, like, 2027, which is, like,
Holy crow.
yeah. Well, that was a conservative estimate. They first told me 10 years, actually. So, which,
Wow.
whatever, dog. Like, this started when I was 25. I won't even be 40 by the time it's, like, the longest time over. So, like, I got... let's play.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
like,
yeah.
like, I will wait you out. Like, you know? So it's definitely a long process, but through this, I am technically the only person who can legally read fortunes in Pennsylvania. Because,
Oh my lord, really?
Yeah, so I have a piece
Really?
of paper called a joint stipulation that says, like, as long as I am suing and in litigation, like, challenging the law, they can't use it against me.
That's badass.
Therefore,
Wow.
I am the only person with a piece of paper that says that I can. Now, I have some stipulations, obviously, like I have to stay within the Hanover borough. Okay, whatever. So I just go to all my friends' businesses
Yeah.
downtown,
Which is
and
right
then
across the board.
or just right, exactly, or just like have readings at my store, which is like right across from the police department. So they moved closer actually, and I was like, "Hi, neighbor. Hello. You want to go to my Halloween party? Hello. Oh my god." So it's like kind of cool that we have this little like protection like and stuff at the store.
That's awesome.
But it makes me laugh. I'm just like, man, you really like picked the wrong like witch, like literally to like mess with. Like, why would you do that to yourself?
And I constantly, I said it earlier before we were recording, when it happened, I'm like, what sort of rural hick 1954 dumb bullying is this?
It definitely it was a reminder of how people perceive me in this world. Like,
Yeah.
truthfully, where it was like, oh no, this is a man in power who wants to make somebody feel afraid. Because that was like very much the vibe, where they like backed me into the corner of my shop. And I was
my
like,
God.
I don't know why you need 2 officers to come tell me that you're not going to arrest me today, but thanks for that, sir. And like, okay, I do understand why. Like, obviously, there's protocol and stuff, so I'm not trying to, be like,
But at the same time, from your
like
perspective,
you could just send me an email.
yeah,
Yeah, a piece of paper.
Yeah, like a letter. Like, hey, just so you know, like, or nothing at all. Like they do everywhere, like at the Renaissance Festival. Like
What a concept.
it blew my mind. So, all in all, I think that ultimately the police chief is the one who kind of has egg on his face with a lot of this. Like, I think
Yeah.
he is, like, they can't post on Facebook because they get clowned in the comments to this day.
Bro.
Like, the
no.
Hanover Police Department, anytime they post about, like, the crime they solved, everyone's like, but what about the tarot readers? And it's never anybody I actually know. Like, it's always somebody kind of, like, random. And I'm like, bro, like, this was almost 2 years ago.
oh
like,
my goodness.
But they're still making its rounds.
Yeah,
which
like
is
every so
the
often
thing.
I'll get people who are like, "Did you hear about this?" And I'm like, "Actually, that's me." Funny story. So, yeah, it's definitely been an interesting experience, but I think that again, like I had to have the shop in order for that to happen, in order for the law to be like come to light, in order for it to get taken away, so that way people in Pennsylvania could practice freely.
Yeah. Now, do you
Like-
think it's done anything to help? Do you think it's helped the store?
Oh, immensely.
That's
Yes.
yeah. That's
I'm very grateful for that. So I never want to come off like, oh, woe is me, I was bullied. Like, yeah, okay, sure, it was like very awful, but I also was weird in high school, so I've had worse.
Mood.
Like, you
Yeah.
know, girls are nasty. So the police chief, okay, whatever, we can just again, like, I'll go to my room, Dad. Like, that was very much the vibe where I was like, all right, cool. So like, are you going to take me to the pond and weigh me, like, against the Bible? Am I going to see if I float? Are you going to build a pyre in the town square? Like,
turned me into a newt.
yeah.
A newt. It got
Well,
better.
better. Yeah, right. Like, very much that vibe. Like, she's a witch. No, I joke that the police chief and I, like, we were in Salem or something equivalent, and I was like, I'll be back. You know? And I'm like, ugh, I'm here. No.
In the future, just hello.
Yeah, it's like, good to see you again, sir. But yeah, so I think ultimately it has been really good, and I think that it's actually opened up a lot of people's eyes as to like what we are about and like what witchcraft actually is, which is not like dark and evil and about cursing people, and I guess it could be if you want. It just takes a lot of energy.
It
Not really my
does.
bag.
It's bad energy. and
Yeah, I
it's
just like don't think it's
no.
necessary, right?
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I love that you've been doing recently is the was it, like the share a garden type thing.
Oh,
I don't know what to
yeah.
call it off the top of my head.
No, the crop swap.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the fun way to say
Yes,
it.
yes. So we have like every Saturday morning, like if people have overabundant gardens, like we have a table that we put out for people to come share and swap. So like if you have a lot of carrots and you have a lot of tomatoes, you can bring part and just like swap them.
Oh, that's cool.
Because like I don't like capitalism. So I kind of was just like, you know what? I think that we need to focus more on the community initiative of
No,
it
that's
all.
awesome.
Yeah, so we do a lot of like work with the local women's shelter. We do like clothing drives. We work with animal shelters. We work with like underprivileged children. Like, you know, so it's definitely like, I think people, once they are given the opportunity to see past the word witch and just be like, oh no, that's just some like, I think people were like, oh my God, it's a teenage girl with her lemonade stand, leave her alone. And then like, you know, basically, which fair, whatever, I'll take it. I'm almost 30 though, so like maybe not. I think that once people kind of got the in, like again, and were able to see what we actually do, it gave people kind of the opportunity to be curious without feeling like they were going to be judged or cursed or hexed or made to feel stupid.
Right.
Because like everyone is welcome there, like legitimately. So I think it opened up the doors to a lot. I always joke that it kind of put out like the bat signal a little bit for like every witch in like the surrounding area. Like I have people who are like, yeah, I live like an hour away. It's not even that far of a drive. And I'm like, girl, 15 minutes is a far drive for me. Like,
But
you know.
I've been to the store when we have folks from New York in there.
Yeah, it's like
it gets
really
crazy.
wild. Like people will stop by. They're like, yeah, I was on a road trip and this was like a detour. And I'm like, a detour to Hanover? When? Like,
For the Utz
what
Factory?
Yeah, you're right. The Utz Factory is pretty good.
Well, I
But
think-
yeah, you know.
The coverage you got, I mean, I thought, wasn't there even like a New York Times article?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So people will have seen this all over the place where like in Salem you had people would make their pilgrimage to Lori Cabot's shop.
Right.
Now it's like, since you've had all that coverage.
Yeah, now people, I've never thought of it as a pilgrimage, but I like that. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, we've heard of this. This is on our bucket list. We're going to go to Beck's shop.
Well, I'm very grateful to the people who do. I'm always like, I hope we live up to the hype. I don't know. Like, Hanover has not a whole lot besides this and hot dogs. So, like...
Yeah, you got the hot dog, the famous hot wiener
Yep,
around the corner.
Yep, and there's the Texas right next to us. So you have an abundance of hot dogs.
Oh, you got the
yes.
Texas hot lunch.
Yeah.
Which actually leads in, we're trying to get, there was, what was it, Ernie's Hot Lunch?
Nice.
Up in Gettysburg. And we met the guy who, his family ran that for 100 years.
Wow. Cool.
At a restaurant recently. We're going to try and get him in.
I love
Because
that.
I'm like, there's got to be so many cool stories from running a place like that and it being in the family for 100 years.
Totally.
So that actually may be a good point to wind down right there. Do you
Yeah.
have anything else you want to throw in? Or
Thank you to everybody who's listening and for you guys for having me on to talk about my my interesting life as the town witch of Hanover.
More than pleased to have you.
Yeah, thank you
I've
so much
been
for making the
so
time.
excited for
Yeah,
this.
absolutely. This was really fun.
Well, folks, as always, thank you for listening. We know that you have other things you could be doing, like watching paint dry.
That's what I do.
Or grass grow. And so thank you for sacrificing a bit of your time to hang with us. And if anything this evening made you think of a story that you want to share or pictures you want to send in and share with us or literally anything, you can send it to merlinsbarn@gmail.com, or you can get a hold of us on the Facebook or the Instagram. But longer things, go to the Gmail because I forget to check the messaging on the other ones. And yeah, you all take care. Thanks again for listening.
Bye.
Good night.